Hey guys, this is Johan, and on this video we're going to do a water change on the 20-gallon Nano.
Alright guys, so to begin a water change, there are a couple things that we're going to need. Obviously, we are going to need salt. I personally use, this is from a bag from the 200-pound reef crystals. That's just what I've used and what I've continued to use. There are different salts that's on the market, but that is the one that's most available to me, so that's what I use. The next thing you're going to need to use is, hopefully you guys have a RODI system, so you could get reverse osmosis water and the purest water form. But if you don't have that and you only have access to just tap water, I would say get you some water conditioner, and one of the best ones is Prime. It does more than just condition the water, it also helps put slime coat on your fish, so this is one of the things that you could have. And if you are going to, whether you have a RODI system or not, you should always know what your TDS is for your tap water and your RO water as well. This helps you know how much, if you have a high TDS area, if you really need RODI system for sure. Also, it helps you test just in case if your RODI system is going out of date and you need to restock your filters. So the next thing you're going to need is some way of checking your salinity, and that is with either a hydrometer, but those can be a little bit unreliable. There are two types. There is a swing arm hydrometer, and also there is this type of hydrometer. It's basically you put it in the water and it bobs around and it shows you where it should be for the right salinity. So it bobs around in the water and then it stays and it shows you the salinity right here. But the best way that you guys should have is actually a refractometer, and that's basically it bounces the light on this prism right here, and then you check it within your eye and see what the salinity is. So the second set of things that we're going to need for the water change is an actual pump to pump the water and mix the water up, and also to pump the water back in once we get the water out of the tank. And I like to use a Mag Drive 7 and a Mag Drive 5. These are just the old return pumps that I used to have, but now I use them for my water mixing station. Another thing that we're going to need is a way to get the water out of the tank, and I like using this it's a python head but with a different type of braided hose, but any hose that can drain the water out of your tank will do. Alright, so now that we have everything that we needed to mix up our water and get our water started, besides a mixing container, that's the next thing that we need. Now that we have all of that, including the mixing container, let's go over to the mixing station so I can show you guys how I mix up my water and how I do a water change. Alright guys, so here is my water changing mixing station. Basically just a few buckets and stuff put together. One little space that's allocated in the living room just for myself, so stay out of everybody's way. So what I usually do is I connect my RO water into here, and this just goes into a float switch, so I can just leave it for a few hours or so while it fills up. And this is just my 5-gallon bucket. And what I do, I just simply remove this, unscrew it, and then I have a hole drilled right here that does the same thing. And I could leave this overnight and just let it drain, or just let it fill up, or start in the morning and then come back a few hours later, or 5-6 hours later, and get it changed out. So this one is already mixed up at the right salinity for my main display, and I have to do the same for here. And both my main display and my 20-gallon Nano are the same salinity. So next thing, let me show you guys an example of how I use this. So this is just stick it in and then you drop it in there, and there is a green mark that's right there. So it should be within that green mark or kind of below it, and then that's usually right. But this is sometimes can be a little bit unreliable because there might be bubbles on there, or it might just be the temperature might be wrong, so it might not give you an accurate reading. So that's why I like to use the refractometer. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and start mixing up our salt. Based on the instructions on reef crystals, we need half a cup per gallon of water. So because this is a 5-gallon bucket, we're just gonna use 5 cups. So I've already put a couple in there. I'm just gonna finish topping it off. So I always like to go 1 cup below of what the manufacturer's specifications are, simply because sometimes depends on your temperature, your salinity may raise or lower actually. So I go 1 cup lower than what they say I need to do, mix it up, and then come back and check it with the refractometer, and then add salt as necessary. Because it's easier to add, it's easier to add salt than to add our water. So you could add a teaspoon of salt, but you have to kind of add our water and then probably add more salt. Alright, so now that we have our salt in our mixing container with our water, next thing we're going to do is turn the pump on. I usually have the pump running whilst I'm adding salt into the water so it could actually mix up and not settle down at the bottom. But because of the video and sometimes this pump's a little bit noisy, I just left it off and pour the salt in there. Another thing you could do is add an air pump to actually help aerate the water whilst you're mixing. So that will help increase the oxygen in your water. Alright, so there's one other thing that I forgot to mention that you need. So you have the water and the container to house the water, but I didn't mention that you need an extra container to drain out the water that you're going to take out. And the best way I find is having the exact size, the same size container that you're going to remove the water. So a 5-gallon bucket, you're going to change out 5 gallons. So this will be an easy way so you can match it up. And then I have another 18-gallon container here, so for my big tank. So I always change up the same amount of water. Alright guys, so the water is all mixed. It's been a couple hours, 2.5 hours or so. The water is mixed and kind of running out of daylight, well, tank light, but I extended the timers for an extra hour or so we could get this water change done. So for the most part, all I'm going to be doing is just clean off the glass a little bit, taking off the excess film that's on the glass, and then stirring up the sand bed a little bit with the extra reaching stick, and then draining some of the water out and then replacing it. I don't really do a sand bed vacuuming on this tank, simply because of the odd shape the tank is. It's a little bit square, it's a little bit narrow, sorry, and then the way the rockscape is, it is a little bit difficult to angle around it. So if I ever do a water change, I usually just drain the water. Every now and then, like the first time I did a water change on this tank, I did do a vacuum. So I'm gonna try to set it off for every 6 months or so, or 4 months, and then I'll vacuum the sand bed. But I'll just leave it as is because there's not that much in the tank as yet. So when I start adding more fish, then I'll have to worry about cleaning the sand bed, because I do have a lot of bristleworms and a lot of couple of Nazareth snails. I think those are the ones that pop out the sand every time you feed the system. So I have like 3 of them in there that's keeping the sand bed clean, and way too much bristleworms that's in there. Every time I move a rock, about 10 bristleworms just pop out of nowhere and jump into the sand. Anyways guys, so let's get into the water change.
Alright guys, so as you could see in this clip, I have a lot of algae on the glass, or some kind of fuzz. I'm not sure if it's all algae, it might be some other precipitate that's just settled on the glass, or it might be a bacteria bloom, but it's only on the glass, because when you look directly at the panel, you don't see the fuzz, but it's kind of hazy. But when you go to another panel and kind of look at it at an angle, you could see that fuzz right there. Alright guys, so what I like to do when I clean the aquarium is I first start cleaning off the glass, because there's usually a lot of algae on there, or just precipitates that's just stuck on the glass, and I do that to get them free in the water, so when I do the water change, it actually gets siphoned out and not left in the aquarium. So I usually use the glass cleaning magnet just to clean the glass and take off any excess algae, and then after that I come back with a wand that has a razor blade at the end, so I could clean right up to the sandbed edge, because I have scratched, and many scratches on my 75-gallon, and I'm trying to not put scratches on this 20-gallon, because now I have to go back and polish out those scratches on my 75-gallon. Another thing I like to do is use a turkey baster to blow off the rocks and around the coral to get the excess detritus off the rocks and have that floating into the water column. And I also like to turn off the power heads as well, so that it just stays free floating as much as possible, so I could use a siphon hose and then take it out of the tank. So here is a comparison of freshly mixed water versus some old tank water. On the left you can see the water is really clear, almost blue looking, and you can see the bottom of the bucket. And then the water on the right is the dirty tank water. You can still see the bottom of the bucket, but it has a greenish brown tint to it. You can see particles in the bottom of the bucket. Once I'm done removing all the dirty water, I go ahead and fill it back up with some brand new freshly mixed salt water.
Alright guys, that pretty much does it for this video. If you like it, go ahead and hit the like button down below, and also remember to subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one.